Got a 2019 Equinox, however you pronounce this, okay? Chevrolet Equinox or Holden Equinox. There's a few other cars they use the same engine. It's a 1.5 liter turbo, okay? Direct injection engine. Car came in a tow truck, no start. It cranks, it doesn't start. All right, I'll try to crank it, right? Alright, that's what it does, okay? Doesn't start. Now if you go on the scan tool, it's got a fault code. Crank shaft position, exhaust cam shaft position not plausible. P0017, okay? That's a fault code. You can zoom it right in so people can see that fault code number. P0017, okay? Now I figured out the only way to start this car is if you come on the bonnet here. The only way to start this car is you gotta unplug the sensor. This is a camshaft position sensor. There's a intake position, camshaft position sensor there. This is the exhaust side, okay? You unplug it. You may need to clear the fault code, okay? Let's try clearing the fault code. Erase the fault code, okay? I may need the key on. I'll try without erasing the fault code first, okay? And I'm gonna start the car, okay? With the sensor unplugged. And the car starts. See, car starts, runs fine. Starting and running fine. Now, once the car started, I can plug this in if I want to, okay? And it's not gonna make much difference if I do plug it in after starting. But until you unplug that sensor, the car doesn't start, okay? So I plugged it in, it stay running, no problem. I'll just turn the car off real quick. Okay, so I got a couple of scope data on the on the screen here. So this is my two cam angle sensors, okay, and this is my number one ignition fire, okay. So I know my sensors are working. I know the camshaft is turning. Otherwise, you're not gonna have the signal, or the engine won't even start if the camshaft is not turning, right? So what I've found here is, if I pull this sensor out, let's put that away. If you look under here, there's obviously tone ring, the ring for the camshaft, okay, sensor. And if you follow, I don't know if you can see too much in that hole, but there's a vacuum pump here at the back, right? That turns. The camshaft turns the vacuum pump there. So I pull this hose off where the vacuum pump is, right? There was no vacuum coming out. And if I look closely inside the hole, the camshaft, the bit of the camshaft or the vacuum pump is broken. So the vacuum pump is never getting turned. Okay, it's not turning the vacuum pump. So something's broke off there. Okay, and what I'm suspecting is that reluctor wheel, cam sensor wheel has moved. A metal chunk come off the whatever part there and strike that cam sensor wheel, reluctor wheel, and then it moved this position. So the engine computer doesn't like the position of the exhaust camshaft. That's what's happening. And if you come up here, so after searching a lot on the internet, I finally found one on Picoscope, a non-good, but this is not the exact same engine code. This is a LFV. This is a 1.5 liter, but it's a LFV. This engine is LYX. So it may not be accurate, but it looks somewhat similar how it's supposed to work and what it does, okay? So here's my two camshaft. I got my yellow channel here, that's number one cylinder firing, spark plug, right? So you just gotta follow this. Let's see where it lines up. So the number one firing is lining up on my second bigger square wave, okay? And then at the top, it lines up with that single square wave, the falling edge, okay? No, sorry, the rising edge of the small square wave there or you can say rising edge of the bigger square wave on the second one. It should line up right there. Now we captured our data from this problem car, and you can see my number one firing is lining up with one of the cam sensor, okay, which is my intake. The blue channel is my intake, and you can see here it's lining up with the second bigger square wave, okay, right sort of in the middle, so this is correct. Now let's follow the exhaust cam here, and it's lining up with my second small square wave compared to supposed to line up with my rising edge of my second bigger square wave, which in my understanding should be right here. So my camshaft has moved that much, and I did a little bit of calculation. It has moved about 200 plus degree on this engine. So obviously everything has to come off here. The problem here, I think, is the camshaft, exhaust camshaft needs to be replaced. On top of that, that vacuum pump, we got to do something about it, replace it, and there's a lot of oil leak coming out of the vacuum pump as well. Okay, so this is the problem with the car. It's a 2019 Holden, and I'm pretty sure, look, this shouldn't happen to a car. Holden or Chevrolet, they're going to make their car a bit stronger than this. This is only 3-4 years old car. Anyway, have a good night.